most IMP questions for mechanical engineering for technical exam. So let's see the first question. The speed of an aeroplane is measured by the pitot tube. The right answer is pitot tube. With the help of the pitot tube, we can measure the speed of the aeroplane. Now the second, the conductivity of metal in order, in increasing order, like a silver has the highest conductivity, then copper, then aluminium, then iron. The correct answer is A. The order of conduction is like iron less than aluminium less than copper less than silver. So in most probably exams this type of question are held in technical exams. Now the third, the isentropic adiabatic expansion is related to the reversible adiabatic expansion. It is both are the similar names for the process. Now a material that exhibits the same elastic properties in all direction at a point is called isotropic object. Now the amorphous material, the example of amorphous material is glass. The PERT has following time estimates. The 3-time estimate. PERT has 3-time estimate. Now the surface tension caused by cohesion forces. So the cohesion forces which have same molecules have attraction forces which known as a cohesion force. Riveted specified by its shank diameter. What is the SI unit of dynamic or absolute viscosity? Dynamic viscosity also known as absolute viscosity. The SI unit is Newton second per meter square and the CGS is poise. Now what is the SI unit for kinematic viscosity? So it is SI unit is meter square per second and CGS unit is the Stokes and centi-Stokes. Now the example of reaction turbine. For a reaction turbine is a Kaplan, Pelton, D-level and turbo are the example for impulse turbine. Yes. Now the mild steel belongs. So mild steel belongs for a low carbon steel which contains a lower portion of carbon is known as mild steel. Now the boiling point of ammonia is minus 33.30 degree Celsius. In periodic table, atoms are arranged on basis of atomic number, and atomic number is basis on which it is basis of the proton which placed inside a nucleus. Now the compression ratio of petrol is 8:1. The main objective of pressure reducing valve to regulate the pressure in the system to maintain a constant pressure when the pressure increases. So in a pneumatic system the pressure regulator is called instead of a pressure reducing valve. Now what is the symbol of 3/2 direct control valve? So this is a 2/2, this is 3/2, this is 4/2 and this is 4/3 DCV. Now the process of removing burnt gases from cylinder is known as scavenging. The scavenging process is actually a process of removing burnt gases from a cylinder. Now the main function of governor to regulate the speed of a device such as like engine. For a regulate speed of a device is a main function of governor. Now the connecting rod is attached to the piston by piston pin. Self-ignition temperature of diesel as compared to petrol is lower. Main difference between CPM and PEART यानी PERT chart. So CPM deals with precise calculate time while the PERT deals with activity with uncertainty of time. So the main difference is CPM deals with precise and actual calculated time while the PERT deals with the activity of uncertainty of uncertain time. Now the standard time is defined as the sum of normal time plus allowances. The sum of normal time and allowances is called the standard time. Now in a simple gear train having 2 gears, if one of them rotates in clockwise direction, then the other one is rotates in anti-clockwise direction. So a petrol engine works on which cycle? It is Otto cycle. So basically petrol engine works on Otto cycle. The Oldham's coupling is used to connect two parallel shafts whose axes are at small distance apart. So small misalignment are there for the in Oldham's coupling. Then Oldham's coupling is used. The critical path of network represents the minimum time required for completion of project. The minimum time required to completion of project is represent the critical path of network. The EOQ used for to calculate the optimum size load quantity. Optimum size load quantity is calculated by EOQ. Now the 1 TR, it is the unit of power to represent a refrigeration effect in air conditioning or refrigerator. So 1 TR equals to 3.5 kilowatt. Now the symbol of first angle and third angle method. The first angle symbol it is, and the third angle, this is for the third angle system. Object lies between observer and plane of projection. It is in first angle. Like object is first considered in first angle and the projection is considered in third angle. Plane of the projection lies between the observer and the plane. So it is known as a third angle. Now the air vessel, what is the main function of air vessel? Why it is used in the reciprocating cylinders? So single acting reciprocating cylinder, and to get a continuous supply of liquid at uniform rate. And diesel cycle, heat is added at constant pressure process. Diesel cycle, the heat is added at constant pressure. Now the compression ratio for diesel cycle is 11:1 to 20:1. A device used in boiler to pumping a water is known as feed pump. Now the isochoric changes in ideal gas are characterized by P by T equals to constant. Isochoric equals to P by T equals to constant. Now in the process chart, the symbol for inspection, there is a circle for operation, arrow for transport, and the rectangle for inspection, and the reverse of triangle is for storage. Now the specific speed of Kaplan turbine is 2 to 5. A spark plug gap is mainly 0.45 to 0.6 mm. The spark plug gap is 0.45 to 0.6 mm. Octane number of petrol is 80 to 9. Octane number of petrol is 80 to 9, where the cetane number of diesel is 50. Cetane number of diesel is 50. Now the Rankine theory introduced for which type of material? For brittle type of material. The Rankine theory for brittle material, and the example of brittle material is cast iron. Gas theory applicable for which material? For ductile material, and the example of the ductile material are steel, copper, and aluminum are the main example of ductile material. Which screw thread used for jack, vices, and clamps? So the square thread used for the jack, vices, and clamp, and which are the angle of the square thread, like a 90 degree. Now they describe what is the stud. The stud is the headless screw with thread on both sides. Headless and thread on both sides. So there is no this kind of head on stud. Cylinder liner made of which material? Cylinder liner mainly made of a build of cast iron alloyed with mix of the chromium, vanadium, and molybdenum. The cylinder liners made from cast iron alloyed mixed with chromium, vanadium, and molybdenum. Now the eye bolt used for which kind of application? Main application of eye bolt to lift the transport machine and heavy objects on the shop floor. So this is the eye bolt. Which type of gear used in non-parallel and non-intersecting? Screw bevel gears or spiral gear are the main example of for a non-parallel and non-intersecting gear. Screw bevel gear, skew bevel gear, and spiral gears. Now the power screw function, the main function of power screw. The lead screw was also known as the power screw for translate a turning motion into a linear motion. Translate a turning motion into a linear motion. So main function of the lead screw. And main function of the key to connect the transmission shaft to a rotating machine element like gear to transmit the torque from one shaft to hub and vice versa. Now the rivet specified by shank diameter. So this is a example or image of rivet. Now in gas metal arc welding, a consumable electrode are used and generally mild steel wire are used as an electrode. Now in the reason of blowholes in casting, the reason of blowholes, why they are made or why they are occurs in casting. So the low permeability of the sand mold is the main basic reason for making a blowholes in casting. Now the which material is more elastic? Steel, carbon, rubber or cast iron? So the steel is the most elastic material in this given options. Now the rivets are made of steel which is ductile material. So rivets are made of steel material. Now the which type of spring used in door hinge? The helical torsion type of spring used in door hinge. Which type of fan gives high efficiency? So backward curve fan are give the highest efficiency like 60 to 70%. Now the COP of refrigerator compared to air conditioner. So it is low. The COP of refrigerator is low compared to AC. Ammonia leakage informed by a burning sulfur candle. How can we imagine or calculate the if ammonia is leaked? So burning sulfur candle can help us to finding out the if there is any kind of leakage of ammonia held. Now the freon group also known as halocarbon. The freon group also known as halocarbon. Air cycle works on which cycle? It is works on reverse Brayton cycle, which also known as Joule cycle. Air cycle works on which cycle? A reverse Brayton cycle, or it is also known as a Joule cycle. Now the which type of turbine use most acquire high head? So the Pelton wheel is able to give a high head like greater than 100 meter, and this is the image of this Pelton turbine. Now in compressible flow, the density is not constant throughout the flow. So the density is not constant throughout the flow. But in incompressible flow, the density is constant. Now the relation of viscosity between water and mercury. Viscosity of mercury is lesser than the water because shear stress developed in water is more than the mercury. So a shear stress developed in water is more than mercury. This is taken from the relation viscosity is directly proportional to the shear stress. Viscosity is directly proportional to shear stress. So indirectly the shear stress are and inversely proportional to velocity gradient. So the velocity of mercury is lesser than of water. Which material used to make a pattern in precision casting? So wax or mercury is used for precision casting. For the cupola furnace used for which melting material? Like it is used for a cast iron for a melting purpose. Now the eutectoid reaction, solid A gives solid B plus solid C. It is a eutectoid reaction. Now the example of FCC structure: aluminium, copper, nickel, Ag and silver. And the delay period in petrol engine. So delay period of petrol engine is 0.002 second. 0.002 second is the delay period in petrol engine. Now the main function of fixture to hold the workpiece and to locate the workpiece. It is this is the main function of fixture. But how it is differed from the jig? A jig differs from a fixture is that a light a guidance the tool to its correct position in addition to locating and supporting the workpiece. A jig also gives the particular direction to how the workpiece to be held. The dynamometer used for to calculate the measure the force, torque and power. Dynamometer used to calculate measure force, torque and power. Now the which type of chuck used to hold a odd shape or uneven shape of workpiece. So 4-jaw chuck is used for the hold odd shape workpiece because the every jaw is work irrespectively or individually. So if there is any kind of irregularity in shape, the jaw adjusts itself and it's manually and hold the irregular shape of workpiece. Now the unit of the surface tension is Newton per meter. Now, the pyranometer used to measure a direct radiation and diffuse radiation. It is a pyranometer. Now the which material is stainless steel affect the stainlessness? Which material? So mainly the chromium material is a main factor to for the stainlessness steel. When the ideal gas formula. So the ideal gas formula of is PV equals to nRT, not PV equals to mRT or any such type of equation. It is a PV equals to nRT, where P equals to pressure, V equals to volume, N equals to number of moles, R equals to gas constant, and temperature, T equals to temperature. Now the which process used to produce hollow glass or plastic bottle? So the blow molding or injection blow molding is used to produce hollow glass or plastic model. So this is the main procedure for blow molding manufacturing process. The electrode is coated in a metal mixture called a flux, not slag, binder or protective layer. It is a flux. Now the grey cast iron welded by oxyacetylene welding method. Grey cast iron welded by oxyacetylene welding method. Also if it is not in option, then it is the correct one, the gas welding. Now the concurrent forces, the whose line of action meet at one point. Which is the concurrent forces whose line of action meet at one point? Now the point through which the whole weight of the body acts irrespective of its position, it's known as center of gravity. The point through which the whole weight of the body acts irrespective of its position, it's known as center of gravity. Now what is the cohesive forces? The attractive forces act between the similar molecules. And what is the adhesive forces? The attractive forces acts between different molecules. Now the two equal and two parallel forces whose line of action are different form a couple. Two equal and parallel forces whose line of action are different form a couple. The coplanar concurrent forces are those forces which meet at one point and their line of action also lie on same plane. The coplanar concurrent forces meet at one point and their line of action also lie on same plane, which is known as coplanar concurrent forces. Now the main function of piston ring, the sealing the combustion chamber so that there is minimal loss of gases to the crankcase. It also can use for improving the heat transfer from the piston to the cylinder wall. The main function is to the minimal loss of the gases to the crankcase or leakage of the any kind of liquid like oil and gases all. In closed system there is no mass transfer, but energy can transfer from the boundary. The 1 ton equals to 10 raised to 3, yani ki 1000 kg. Now for free flow the work done is 0. For a free flow. The work done is zero, because there is no any kind of energy or regarding the forces are acquired for any kind of process where free flow occurred. Now the supercharger used for increase the air density in the IC engine, or indirectly the increase is the power. So supercharger used for increases the power. Now the shrinkage phenomenon held due to the volumetric concentration in solid and liquid stage. A volumetric concentration in solid and liquid state, the shrinkage phenomenon. Now, which type of brakes generally used in railway? The shoe brake are generally used in the railway, and air brake is also used in the railway. The which technique used to make a nut bolts? The cold heating is a technique to make a nut bolts. The Poisson's ratio for steel is 0.25 to 0.33. 0.25 to 0.33. It means 0.25 to 0.33. The Poisson's ratio for steel. Now the Venturi meter used to measure a flow rate of fluid. Venturi meter is used to measure flow rate of fluid. 1 bar equals to 10 raised to 5 Pascal. Yes. The humidity measurement device. The hygrometer. Hygrometer used to measure a humidity in atmosphere. This is a photo of hygrometer. Now the vapor compression cycle. Vapor compression cycle works on reversed Carnot cycle. Vapor compression cycle works on reversed Carnot cycle. The which refrigerant used in aeroplane for the refrigeration effect? The air. Air is used for in the aeroplane for refrigeration effect as a refrigerant. Now the fluid is a substance that cannot remain rest under action of any shear forces. If any kind of shear forces occurred on a fluid, it regularly all undefined or not in the rest condition. Now the capillary action is due to the capillary action occurs when the adhesion to the walls is stronger than the cohesive forces between the liquid molecules. When the adhesion forces attractive forces between different molecules, like a surface of this capillary tube, glass tube, and the water. So it is major than the cohesion or same water particles attraction. So then the capillary action occurred. Now the liquid transmit pressure equally in all direction according to Pascal law. Liquid transmit pressure equally in all direction is according to Pascal's law. The manometer used to measure a pressure in pipes and channels, etc. So manometer is used for to measure the pressure in pipes and channels and etc. And now thank you.